Hello guys, and welcome to another video. In this section we're going to do the styling for the Simon game. So I'm going to start by targeting the body section, and I'm going to say background color. Let me see, what color can I give this? I'm going to go into elements, and then I'm going to head into the body. I'm going to click on the palette, and I want to do something like this. So let me see. I'm happy with that color. See what it looks like. Okay, I think I'll do with that one. And next I'm going to target the container. So I'm going to say container margin 0 auto, and text align center. Is that container? I don't know what I'm missing. There we go. Next I'm going to target the Simon board class. So I'm going to say that Simon board, and I'm going to make this board a 600 by 600. So I'm going to say width 600 pixels, height 600 pixels, and I want to push it a little bit down. So I'm going to say margin top 50 pixels, and margin 0 auto, so I can center it. And then I'm going to give it a solid border. So I'm going to say border solid. I think I do 5 pixels, and let's make it black. And finally, let's do border radius. And let's make that 600 pixels, and that should give me a perfect circle. Next I'm going to target the pad class, which is going to style all the pads at the same time. So I'm going to say that pad, and I'm going to say margin 0, float left, position relative, and I'm going to give it a width of 290. That is about 5 pixels shorter than half of the height, or half of the width, I'm sorry. And I'm going to do the same for the height, 290 pixels. And finally I want to give it a border, so since I want to know where the pads are, because I can see them right now. So I'm going to say border solid black, actually I'll say 3 pixels black, and those are my borders. Notice that they are 4 squares, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom, and now what we need to do, we need to shape each individual pad or square at a time. So that's as far as we can do targeting all the pads at the same time. Now I'm going to start doing the green pad, so I'm going to say that green, and that's my first pad, this one right here. and I'm going to give it a color of green. And next, the way you make it fit into the circle is by giving it a radius to this section right here. So I'm going to say border radius 300 pixels 0.0.0, and something went wrong. And of course, the thing is that I don't need to use comma to separate the dimensions, so it should work right now. There we go. And so I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of the paths. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it 3 more times. And I'm going to change this to, I think this one is red. So I need to change the color also to red. And I need to move this around. I think this goes over here in the second. There we go. And this one is yellow. I need to change the background. And I will move it in this section. Of course, if I can correctly spell yellow, here we go. And actually, it is right here. There we go. And this one is blue. Change the background. And that should do it. Let me see if I can move it closer. So now we need to tweak this to fill this gap right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a little bit with the width and height of each individual pad. So I'm going to pump it up to, let's say, 93 for the width and 93 for the height. And that looks a little bit better, although there's still the separation. So I'm going to do 1 more pixel. Let's say 4 and 4, and I think that should do it. And next, let's move to do the controls. So we need to target first the control class, because every single button in the display and everything goes inside this class. So I'm going to say that Simon actually controls is a control boards controls. I'm going to give this one a width of 245 pixels and a height of 245 pixels. And I'm going to give it a border, actually a background first, background color of white, and a border of 10 pixels. Actually a border solid, 10 pixels, black, and a border radius of 150 pixels. And if you wonder why is the circle behind the paths, remember we started entering HTML and the first thing that we did was the paths, and then the controls are down here. So the way the page works is actually gives a preference to the elements that are closer or that comes first. That's why this one is showing up behind the paths. A way to bring it forward is by using the C index and give it a number. Actually, what you're doing, you're giving it a priority, if you will. So I'm going to give this one a C index of 10, and I'm going to give it the paths a C index of, let's say, 8. And no, I forgot that the C index needs to go with the position CSS rule, and I'm going to give this one a position of absolute, and that should do it. Yeah, there we go. So now I was able to bring the controls to the foreground and the paths to the background. So next I want to be able to center the controls in at the center of the board. So I'm going to say margin left 100 and let's say 45 pixels, and no, that's not quite center yet, so I'm going to do 150 pixels, and just a little bit more, 160 pixels. Let's see, maybe. So I'm going to go with that one. So I'm going to say margin top 160 pixels, and that should bring it to the center of the board. And so that's how you solve the controls, especially when you want to put it on top of something that you already have on the HTML page. So next I'm going to start doing the single elements within the control, within the control section. So I'm going to say title, I'm going to give it a margin from the top of 30 pixels and the font size of let's say 50 pixels, and let's do 45. Remember, you can get creative with this. You can use your own font. You can download fonts and make it look a lot prettier. I'm going to go with font weight bold and a margin bottom of 10 pixels. Next, I need to do the display, the start and streak button, but these three things go in a single line. So I need to create a class that allows me to put these three things in line. So I'm going to come back into the HTML section, and I'm going to add a class to the display of inline, to the start button of inline, and also to the streak button. And I'm going to say that inline display inline block, and I'm going to say vertical align middle. And now notice that I have the display, start and streak all in the same line. And so for the display, I'm going to do a width of 60 pixels. I think that should be enough, and height of 40 let's do 45 pixels. Border, solid, 1 pixel black, and I missed the Y in display. There we go. And okay, I needed to pause the video for a second because I noticed that I was having the rest of the text within the control section falling outside of the circle, and I came back into the HTML section. I realized that I had some mismatch in my tags, especially the p tags and the start and the strict divs. I think there was a mismatch in between the opening tag and the closing tag. I might have used a p tag as a closing tag. So if you're following along, go back into the HTML section and make sure that your closing and opening tags match. And as soon as I make them match, everything fall into place. And so I'm going to go back into the CSS section, and next I'm going to do the start and streak buttons. So I'm going to say, I think I have a start and streak button. So I'm going to say dot start, comma dot streak, and I'm going to give my buttons a margin of 0 pixels, a margin left of 20 pixels. I'm going to have my text align center, and I'm going to give it a width of 55 pixels and height also of 55 pixels. I want to give it a border solid, let's say 2 pixels black, and a border radius of 30 pixels. Let's see, yeah, it looks about right. It looks like a perfect circle. Also, I'm going to give it a color of black, and font size of let's say 30 pixels. Too big. Let's say 25 pixels. Still too big. 22 pixels. It looks better. And let's put it in the middle. So I'm going to say line height 55 pixels, and that's about right. So I'm going to create another class targeting just the start button. So I'm going to use the start class. Say dot start, and I'm going to make the background color red. And then for the streak class, I'm going to make the background color yellow. Yep. Okay, so next I'm ready to tackle the switch at the bottom of the controls, and so I'm going to say, I think the class name is outer switch. Let me see. Yes, outer switch. So I'm going to say dot outer switch, and I misspelled switch. There we go. And so I want to make it with a width of 60 pixels. See how that looks. And the height of 30 pixels. a border solid 1 pixel black, and for some reason it's not applying. Most likely it's a class misspelled, and I misspelled this outer right here. So the switch, there we go, there's the switch right there, and I'm going to give it a background color of black. And next I'm going to do the inner switch, and this one I'm going to make it half the width of the outer switch. So I'm going to say width 30 pixels, height about the same 30 pixels, border, I'm not going to give it any border, but background color I'm going to select gray, and there we go, it's right inside to the left of the switch. So when you click on this side of the switch, you're supposed to make this one active gray, and this one should take the black background color, giving you the impression of the switch actually moving from off to on position. And we are almost done. Notice that we have the switch all the way up to the left, and we need to make these 3 elements in line. So when I go back into the HTML section, and I'm going to start by targeting the P element, which is the off text, and I'm going to say inline. Also the same with the outer switch, inline, and the same thing with the on text, inline. And it should be, there you go, and that's it for the styling of the board. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and thanks for watching.